Wow, Anastacia, I said it at the beginning. You're smart, you're brilliant, you're very creative, you're fun, as well.
Thank you.
So for this segment, I want us to focus, and talk more, about that creativity. When did that really start? Because I know you were sharing during the break about how you built, dollhouse and probably other things. How old were you then? And share some incidents of you doing all these things with us.
I mean, I think it started at a very young age. I think it probably started with me building sandcastles a lot. We had a sand pit in our garden. And then from there on, I wanted... The reason I really started being creative, I didn't have the talent. Did not
You
have
think so? I don't agree with you.
I couldn't really draw. I mean, the pictures looked terrible. My mom wouldn't put them on the fridge. They were not worthy. But I think that, I've told you this before, but I don't think that drawing is the talent. I think it's a technical thing. I think anybody could draw if they practiced. It's a practice thing. I think creativity is the talent. I think being able to come up with an idea or come up with something crazy and then learning the necessary skill to put it into real life. And I think that's how my things started, is I had so many wild ideas in my brain, or just ideas, and I wanted to see them manifest physically. And then I couldn't go find someone to do it, and I didn't have money as a child. I couldn't pay someone to do it. We didn't have AI to do it, so I was like, well, I guess I have to learn how to do it. So I think of a crazy drawing, and I'm like, well, now I need to see it. So I'd learn how to paint, and then I'd have a cool idea for a dollhouse, and then I was like, well, now I have to build the dollhouse. So I mean, it started off with cardboard and glue and paper and fabrics. And yeah, even in my fashion, I'd say I have this idea of a really cool t-shirt. How do I do it? I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to learn how to sew. And I think that's kind of how my creativity and how my physical abilities started.
So your school, I remember you saying something as well about the school you attended, the fact that, they offer scholarship, to other people, as well. So tell us about the initial school you went to before. Tell us about your educational, I know you're saying creativity is really the talent, but then those skills that you now had to learn in terms of education, share that with us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the university I went to also, I think, sees that, because they don't really accept students based on their actual drawing ability. A lot of my friends couldn't draw when they got there, but they had the creativity, they had the will to learn. And I think that's such a good thing to foster that sort of creativity. And yeah, I mean, they look for talent everywhere, not just for the people who can afford the tuition, which I think is an amazing thing. And it gives more opportunity to other people who are just as creative, if not more creative, but might come from a background that could not necessarily afford a university tuition. And I think giving those opportunities out is a very important thing, because it shouldn't be a limited thing, especially in the art world.
Yeah. Now, I remember you saying, even when you're, in transport or being, driven, you could be doing your work. So digital art, what is it really? How is it different from, because you can paint, but then now it's more of the digital art that you're about, and you're doing this internship, which you've been excelling on based on some of the projects, that you've shared. So run us through what digital art, what does it really mean, and just show us a little bit.
Digital art is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's basically taking that traditional form of pen and paper and moving it onto a digital space, like an iPad. And I'd say tablets and iPads have really revolutionized it with the ability to paint with a pencil, or what looks like a pencil, the Apple Pencil. And yeah, I mean, my favorite software is Procreate. I know you get a lot of other ones out there, but this is my favorite. It's quite user-friendly. And then for example, here's a piece that's unfinished. And it's a similar concept. I mean, it's the similar concept to painting, where you'd have brush strokes and paints and even different types of texture brushes. So you get brushes that are maybe mimic a pencil. You get brushes that mimic a paintbrush for oil paints. You get ones that mimic brushes for watercolor. So you can use any medium just in one area, which actually is also quite something that I find interesting, because I can take this and I can work on a piece on the plane, for example, where I can't have all my oil paints out. I can't have all my watercolors. I can't have all my pencils.
So those are the benefits and the advantages.
It's compact. Yes. I mean, it's the same thing as like a cell phone. I don't have to carry a calendar, a clock. I don't have to carry around a telephone. I have all of it in one thing. And it's quite, in my opinion, a bit revolutionary. And especially with the way that the future is going and technology is going, I'd say digital art and digital media is the future.
And I see in this, like this particular one, and I've seen other work that you do, you're even able to paint as much as the veins, you know, showing the veins. Maybe let's see one of the ones that you showed me, and I was like really fascinated.
When you go deep in, you can see the little hairs, the veins, and the way that these are drawn is actually. A lot of the things, like the way I learned how to draw is by studying anatomy. Like I studied real anatomy books.
Okay.
And that's how I learned how to draw people. So I go off of it from a very like scientific way. I don't know, that's probably not most people's processes, but it's the way how I learned how to draw. Because I am self-taught. You know, I didn't have someone teaching me how to do it.
But you've done brilliant. You've done really, really brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, even the things like the veins, there's a layer that is the base layer, so it's like the muscle, and then inside that layer I draw the veins, and then on top of that I draw a very low opacity layer of like skin, so that it basically kind of shows through. And you were sharing the strokes as well, that a lot of it is about different strokes, and I was just so fascinated. If you look at the feet, these are all various different strokes.
Okay.
And let's see, like here you can, no, not that one. You can see, like, I start off with a layer that is just flat, so there's no detail on it, and then on top of that, where are they? On top of that, I draw all of these little strokes.
How many strokes? I think you showed me yesterday.
Yeah, you can see this. That's also very cool.
Yeah. Which you can't see if it was paper.
Yeah, total strokes. This one's almost 2,000 strokes so far.
Wow. And how many hours did it take you?
And this isn't even finished. It's already been 2 hours.
2 hours. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, it's very similar to the way that you would paint in oils, where you have small strokes that you then blend together. I mean, that is kind of the way, and you have like sort of a smudge brush over here, and then you'd basically just blend it together.
You make it look so easy.
I think that this part is the easiest part. It's the most therapeutic part. Like, I love the blending part, because it's just, you can see it all come together. The hard part is figuring out while drawing, where do the shadows go? Where do the creases go? You know, you think about that on the foot, you'd have these creases that go from outside, but they don't go all the way. So you have to think, where's the light? Where are the shadows?
There was one you showed me as well on the bird, you know, about how we, just the various kind of animation. That's animation now. So can you just run that through for us?
I mean, when you animate something, you have to think about every frame that comes afterwards, and you have to think about it when there like nothing exists yet. So I mean,
and this is a bird with a love letter or something
for Valentine's Day.
For Valentine's Day.
So you have to think about it like you start on a page that looks just like this.
Okay.
There's nothing on it, and then you have to think, okay, I want the bird to fly like that. How does that look? And then you can think about it. Okay, a bird flaps its wings, and with animation, you draw every single frame so that it looks like one continuous line. But the thing is, you don't know what the next one looks like until you get there. So it's easy to look at it from here and you're like, oh, that's so obvious that that's what it would look like. But when you actually are drawing it without a reference, it's not that easy. It's quite hard to think about, like, okay, I drew this now. Now what would it look like one step ahead? And then having to like think, okay, so that's what it looks like one step ahead. And then it looks like this, and then like this, and then like this.
That's
and so on, and then once it flows together, it looks like a flapping bird.
Wow.
And I think that is, again, it's a practice thing. The way that I learned how to animate was by taking videos of things, and then I'd import it so that it creates the frames out and it lays it into layers. And then I used a technique that you call rotoscoping, where you basically draw on top of that layer of a pre-existing physical video. And that's how I learned how to animate, because it kind of helps teach you how to predict something, or helps you predict what happens next. Or like for this one, I Googled like YouTube videos of birds just flying. Okay. And then I'd slow the video down so that I could kind of like just go through it slowly and kind of imagine it. And then I go back and I was like, okay, how would this look as a cartoon?
Interesting. Wow. Okay, what we're going to share one of your work. So this was a work done in your year 3. Tell us a little bit about it.
So this was done in my 3rd year of university, one of my first projects in 3rd year, and we were given the task to create sort of a campaign to help promote people to choose glass Coca-Cola bottles over plastic, because of how much waste plastic bottles bring to the world and to all those, to the landfills, and especially with the big topic of global warming and things. Our lecturer thought it would be a cool project to do, and it also wrote on the fact that back in the 50s, when Coca-Cola first started, they had glass bottles that you could take back and refill. So the message was supposed to be, you should choose glass because you can reuse glass. You can take home a Coca-Cola glass bottle and use it as a vase. Like the recycling is a bit easier. So yeah, that was the campaign, and my concept for it was trying to sort of touch people's hearts. I was very inspired by the movie WALL-E, where people empathize with a character and what the character goes through. So in my project, I made like a little ghost sprout that ends up, you'll see in the video.
Don't give it away.
Don't give it away yet. But I also got inspiration from the Christmas ghosts of the past, present, future. And I took that concept to sort of show a viewer the past of it, the present that we're going through with it, and the potential future. There's like a hypothetical of how bad the future could be. And that was the concept behind the campaign.
Let's let our viewers watch and enjoy. We'll be right back. So we're still on Let's Talk with Anastacia about digital art. And yes, I hope you enjoyed that video, just showcasing a Coca-Cola campaign that she did in her year 3. And that made me remember, that we actually were at the World of Coca-Cola in Atlanta, Georgia, many moons ago. I think it's over 20 years now that we bought this, which was the original bottle, that they started with. And yeah, I don't know why we're not seeing more bottled, Coke and plastic.
I did a lot of research on Coca-Cola and their bottles and things when I started the project, because a part of our degree is a lot of research and, knowing what you're talking about. But it was actually ended up being a bit of a difficult project for me, because I ended up not agreeing with both sides. Because they were saying, I will. So, on one hand, plastic is very bad. It's destroying the world, really. It's not easily recyclable, and the fumes that it takes to recycle are just not very good either. And then on the other side, glass bottles are better, but they're actually not great either, because they're much more expensive for production, and with the way that the world works, cost is a problem. Also, transportation of glass bottles is a lot more difficult. It's not as easily transportable, and people don't like the fact that it has a bottle cap because you can't reseal it. Not everybody wants to drink the whole thing at once. So plastic bottles are so much more, they're more portable, they're more friendly to the average lazy human being. And also, glass breaks. So I think a lot of people they don't want glass, but we don't want plastic either.
So there are pros and cons for both.
Pros and cons to both, but actually the one that I found to be the best is actually aluminium cans. Aluminium cans can be endlessly recycled, so they never reach an expiration date really. They're not easily, they don't break easily. They don't break.
And will you be able to
yeah, I mean,
reuse?
You could probably figure out a way for it to be reused. Okay. And I mean, even if it ends up having a plastic lid, that little plastic lid is a lot less than a full bottle. So I feel like there are actually better concepts and better ways to think about
Coca-Cola, are you listening? Maybe aluminium is the way to go.
You do get aluminium Coca-Cola.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Whereabouts?
Like a soda can.
Oh, okay, aluminium. That one. Yeah. Okay. All right, but then you can't stop and not. So they all have their. Okay.
So they should actually really just be rethinking how to make better aluminium.
Whereby
cans.
they're environmental friendly as well.
And I think don't quote me on this. I'm not sure if this information is still correct, but I'm pretty sure the actual production of aluminium cans is also releases less CO2 emissions than the production. Because that's another thing. Glass bottles release a lot of CO2 emissions when you make glass. So, and also recycling gases.
Which is our final segment, becoming a digital artist or media or communications, what's the right title?
My
with
degree
your internship?
I'm a visual communicator.
Okay.
So my degree was visual communications and I majored in multimedia.
Okay.
So that's my official degree.
Title. Okay.
And title, yeah.
So how do you, do that? It's a 3 years course. Can you avoid going to the university if you don't have the means?
I mean, I think that you can. I think university time was very valuable in learning skills, especially in my field with the digital media, learning software and having access to software, because a lot of the software is paid, and it's expensive. So even if you do it by yourself, you still have to pay quite a lot for those softwares. But in any place you can kind of get around it. It's not like a medical degree where you need to have a doctorate to actually do the work. You don't need to have a BA degree to actually be an artist. I mean, that's the great part about being an artist. Anyone can do it. Anyone can be an artist.
Not for somebody like me.
But you are an artist in some way.
Okay, I am actually. You're right.
I'd say I'd say that is still considered. I don't think you have to be able to paint to be an artist.
You're right.
And I mean, musicians are artists. Dancers are artists,
I'm a dancer, so I'm an artist. I think when I think of artists,
forms,
I think only of painting. I think that's the problem. Yeah.
I mean, artistic expression goes such a huge. That's why I'm also saying it's the creativity that's the talent. Right. Musicians have the creativity to compose and to write. And so do writers and poets, and artists have the ability to come up with cool ideas of what would look nice. But the actual skill is learned after. You have the passion to create music, so you learn an instrument. You have the passion to paint, so you learn how to paint.
Awesome.
I think that's, I mean, even if you think about it similarly, like say an engineer, they probably really love math, so then they decide to get a degree in that and start learning either whatever's in their field, an engineer or something. But and I mean, I think that you can start with as simple as pen and paper, or even if you really don't have the means for it, go to a river and find a red rock and a white rock, and then use the red rock and paint on it. I used to do that when I was bored.
That's easy.
So easy.
I'm still going to do that. Maybe I have some
anywhere. I mean, materials
a red rock
come from nature most of the time. So you can use anything around you, which is really the great thing. You just have to get creative. Even music, you can start drumming on whatever. You can put a string over something and create a banjo.
I totally agree.
So I think that if you really want to and you have the willpower to be an artist, you can be an artist. And then getting into the industry, I'd say it's all about connections, or just generally networking. I think you don't have to have a degree for it, but talk to people. And if you talk to someone who knows someone who knows someone, I say that's how you get around anywhere in the world in any field.
Correct.
And I think that's kind of how you end up somewhere.
Wow, it's been an humbling pleasure, on Let's Talk with you, talking about digital art. And we just appreciate what you're doing in that space. And we celebrate you, we salute you. And we hope, some of what you've shared will inspire the young ones, or even an elderly person, senior citizens
it's
like
never
me.
Too late to
it's
start.
never too late to
Never
start.
Too late.
So what I want you to end up with is just to give a word of encouragement, to anyone out there who might want to go into digital art or study visual communications. Is that the right word?
Yeah, visual communications. I mean, under the umbrella term of visual communications is photography, illustration, art direction, graphic design, and multimedia, which is heavily in a lot of the times advertising spaces, which is also, I'd say.
So those are the opportunities in terms of career.
Yeah, there is. There really are. I mean, if I don't want to do multi anymore, I could become a graphic designer now as well, or I could go into photography probably if I really wanted to. So I mean, my words of encouragement for anyone out there who wants to be an artist in general is just go out and be creative and find anything around you and make art with it. Put some sticks together, make art with it. Anyone can do it. And if you want to be a digital artist, or if you want to get into the digital industry, a visual communicator, it's start with the basics and start by learning traditional art, and then it'll help a lot with the techniques to become a digital artist. And then I'd say I personally say start with a tablet. Find someone, you could borrow it from a friend or save up for one, or sometimes even libraries have iPads on rent, or that you can lend, and just play with it, have fun with it, learn from it, see what other people are doing and try and mimic that in your own work. Don't copy, don't plagiarize, but just learn from it. And I'd say talk to people as much as you can, talk to other artists, other creatives, and I'd say have fun, learn, and do whatever your brain wants it to do.
Thank you so much, Anastacia. Well, that's all we've got time for on Let's Talk. Talking about digital art with Anastacia, and you heard creativity is really the talent. And if you want to check out some of Anastacia's work, we'll be sharing the details, all that social media at the end. She's on LinkedIn, she's on she's got a website, Instagram, and so on. Might want to collaborate with her on the side while she's doing her internship still, because she loves Cape Town, South Africa, and so this is her home, but she can do all this work remotely. So check her out, and or if you want to ask more questions, I'm sure she'll be open, to answering you if she can. Well, till next time, stay safe, stay blessed. Love you all. God bless. Bye.